Using MS Excel to plan each coordinate, I have created the first fully planned city of mankind, set in prehistory. I will be playing Dawn of Man at the hardest difficulty to build this great city simply known as the Ozymandian Kingdom. Given the ravages of time, even the greatest men and the empires they forge are impermanent, their legacies fated to decay into oblivion. This city, while it lasts, shall, however, be so great that gods invented 1,000 years from its passing shall come with bowed heads to ask our ancestors, who built this edifice? Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, lovers of war, traders of great renown, I, the strategic Indian, bid you welcome to my channel, where our motto is think, practice thinking. If you like the content, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment, which will greatly help with the almighty YouTube algorithm. Alright, so welcome everybody. I hope you had a great work week and now you're ready to relax and enjoy Dawn of Man. We are continuing building our fully planned city. Each and every coordinate has been put in place for a particular reason with a lot of thought, which I am going to explain as we play along. This episode's main goal is going to be reduction of workloads. So how are you going to keep your workloads low? And why is it important to keep your workloads low? So there are two things, of course. You're always playing for something and against something. So you lose something and you gain something. So what is it that we lose if we have high workloads? One, we lose this time that our, these cavemen and cavewomen can go inside their tents and make babies. That is what you lose. So that is going to contribute to a lower childbirth rate. So how are you going to check for that? There are really not that many stats for that. However, what you want to do is you want to click on the stats panel. We have hotkeyed that to R, and that is what I explained in the very first opening episode itself, that the particular set of hotkeys that I use. So go and have a look at that if you haven't checked that out already. And what you want to look at, you want to hover over the number of adult women in your tribe. And you want to see how many of them are pregnant. The best case that you can have is if 50% or more of your adult women are pregnant. That is the best. Anything higher is of course welcome, but that will never happen. You will more or less climb quickly once go over and then you come back down. But try to aim for 50% of women being pregnant. If you keep very high workloads, you are going to have lesser women pregnant, therefore fewer men and women getting born, children getting born in your tribe, and therefore you are not going to grow as fast. Now, the counter argument for that is going to be, hey, if I build up really quickly, if I build a lot of structure, each of these structures give me a lot of prestige, and I can then attract more migrants. Agreed. So that is what the trade-off is. So what I'm doing is I went into my active tasks and I'm looking at my limits and I am lowering down things. I can currently see that I have 150 knowledge points, as you can see at the top right, and therefore that tells me that I am probably in a few raids the enemy is going to be in the Bronze Age. So what I went and I did is that I manually made the number of copper ingots to be made down to 0, because there is no point of me making more copper ingots. As you can see, I have 62, which is a lot. And because I have 62, that's going to be enough for me to basically tide over to the Copper Age. So I'm going to go to all of my blacksmiths and metalsmiths, and I'm going to ensure that all the bronze items are checked and all the copper items are unchecked. And I'm going to manually put in orders. So I'm going to remove some of these because I don't want these items being made. I have enough tools. So if you have the auto product process on, then they will continuously try to make these tools while you are unchecking them. So that doesn't actually help. So you want to uncheck the continuous production, and then you want to press as many items that you actually want. So we want to transition towards the Bronze Age. That's the whole preparation for this episode. So that is what I am doing right now. Unchecking the copper and checking the bronze, and removing all of these extra tools that are going to be made, because I'm going to produce and use up these copper ingots that I have already built in a very strategic fashion. However, what is the reason for that? Reason is I am going to lower workloads because I have to build all of my defenses up. For that, I need logs. As we discussed in the 2 episodes back, that logs are really one of the most important. This kid is not going to make it. Run, kid. Go cross the river. So if you are getting attacked by wild animals, try to cross the river. But they do aggro back on you. So here I'm going to try to do a little bit of micro. I'm going to, probably this kid is not going to make it. So I'm going to send him to tame a cow, whatever. I don't care as much. So what we are doing is that we started, as you saw in this episode, we started with 233% workload. So we wouldn't be able to cut down these vital trees which we need cut down, yesterday, which we needed cut down yesterday. Those are the ones which are still pending, and therefore all of this building is still pending. And what is that creating? That is creating a bigger and a bigger backlog. So I am not cutting down trees because I need these defenses built. The defenses need these trees to be cut down, but I can't cut down the trees because I have additional tasks, namely building these defenses already checked in. So that's how stupid the AI is. The AI does not understand that, hey, if I have to remove all of these tasks and lower my workload, all I would have to do is go in and cut down trees, and then I will have enough building material. I will quickly be able to build my defenses, get them out of the backlog. They don't do that. They just sit there and basically just contemplate their problems instead of solve them. We have no logs at this point. We did quite a lot of nice planting, and that's fine, and we have quite a lot of food. So we have to reduce our workload. That's what is, as you can see now, the workload, because it went down from 233% to 122%, then they are able to think and therefore go and do the tasks at hand, which is cutting down trees. Always factor in plus 20% of workload more than what is actually written down. So because the workload which is shown does not include the following. It does not include their wishes to drink and eat. It does not include their wanting to go and recover morale. So here I am taming a little puppy, as you can see. So look at how they do it. They just pray in front of the puppy. They show some tricks. They show their hands, and then the wolf puppy just becomes a beautiful dog. So this is how historically accurate this game is. This is how we domesticated dogs. We just blessed them, we gave them our palms, and we asked and we intrigued. Look at him intrigued, like, what do you get by being a wild animal? Nothing. What can you get by being a dog? You can get these plastic toys which you can play, cat toys. You can you'll be famous on YouTube. Just give up your independence and become famous on YouTube. So that's how we domesticated dogs. Now, our defenses continue to go up. A few trees did get chopped down. A lot of meat is being dried which is really beautiful to look at. I really like to look at this. And this will go in a cycle. So you would have times when you have a lot of meat being dried, and then not a lot of meat being dried, and then all of these food dryers that you put in, they are going to be idle and they are going to take up work slots. And for that reason, we never fish, because if we started fishing and we had one raw fish in this entire village anywhere, then all of the food dryers would activate and say that, hey, I want to dry this fish. So if you have 100 dryers, then 100 of them are going to try to dry the fish, and then you're going to have a mess. Of course, that's not going to work for one fish. So if you have a bunch of fish, then in addition to drying the meat, you are also going to try to, the game is trying to dry the fish, and that will be all backlogged. So we don't want that. Look at this. We removed so many tasks, therefore at peak harvesting season, we are at 130% of workload. That basically tells us that this is fantastic. We have enough sleds, and therefore we're bringing down the automatic number of sleds to be built, which is nice, because then the workshop does not assign that particular task, and we can then focus on more important things, namely cutting down trees and harvesting food. We bring down the number of carts also, because we don't have that many donkeys. We have 2 adult donkeys that we bought from the market guy. So yeah, I don't care. Just maybe 2 carts are going to be hitched onto them. Sleds, we have plenty. We have 55 sleds for 150 people. So that's more or less 33% of adults have them. So we are good in that respect. Sleds are very, very important. So as you can see, our harvesting is going on, and so some tasks, they are worse than other tasks. So for example, if you don't have sleds or carts and draft animals to pull all of those carts, then mundane tasks like cutting down stone or mining becomes huge tasks, because you would then have to lug all of these heavy ore and rocks all the way back to your colony and into the storage spot, and then finally smelt them. And when they carry heavy items, they lower morale. So as I was saying, that when you have whatever your percentage of work is depicted on the top right, you must add 30%, because recovering morale is also not shown. However, that is something that they have to go and do. If they have to go and sleep, that is not shown. It just shows the number of tasks. For example, if you are hunting or you're butchering an animal, you're harvesting, you're planting, you're doing whatever, those are the tasks that you can see. We have hotkeyed that to 5, and therefore we always check that from time to time and remove things that are not necessary. We can now see that more or less the end of the copper age is coming. So I'm going to press in, our harvest is done. I'm going to press in manually a lot of these tools to be made. This is per se not that important. We overproduced the copper because there were too many metalsmiths which were all sending out orders that I need a copper pick. And if you're short by 1 copper pick and you have 6 metalsmith, all 6 of them will say that, hey, I want to make that 1 copper pick. And therefore, if you have 6 copper ore, then the villagers are going to go and start making 6 coppers instead of 1 copper pick that you actually needed. So that's why you overproduce very easily these items and ingots. Now, this is the best place to pick up sticks in the entire game. So you can clearly see I'm going to assign 5 people over here. And then this is going to be a very intensive task. I don't like it as much to pick up sticks. I prefer them to cut down trees and get sticks that way. But yeah, things are getting... we want to get rid of this huge amount of copper that we have, and therefore we need to convert that into tools, and those tools shall all require sticks. If you are not able to pick up and cut down trees, just tell them to go and get sticks, and that's not efficient. Let's just put it that way. It's not efficient. I don't like it, but I have to do it. Because logs. Logs are so important. If they could live without food, they couldn't live without logs. No, we're still holding at 105%, which I think is fine at this stage with this big a colony with so much requirement of, so many things to be made, so many buildings to be managed. The 105% of workload isn't that much. This is our weavers district. As you can clearly see, I have incorporated a warehouse into this. I made a better design, so I made my warehouse better, my weavers district even better. I have moved this warehouse all the way from the edge to the center of the weavers district, so that also reduces the walking distance even further. So yeah, I keep on improving this setup. I really enjoy doing that. It probably is part of my problem solving attitude while I was doing my PhD. That's, I think, one of the things that science does to you. It makes you want to solve problems, and you're like, yeah, solve problems and discover things, because that is something that you can't get in any other kinds of jobs. Blizzard is coming in, and I can see three unfortunate souls are very far apart. I'm double clicking them to come back into the huts, but they are the huts are a bit strange, so you would have to double click at the back of the hut to make them to come running back. So the double click always doesn't work, and it often doesn't work when you need it to work. So if there are, say, a lot of raiders nearby, and you want your teenagers to run away, your cavemen and cavewomen to run away, then you double click away. They don't listen to you, they just continue walking. Game is a bit frustrating, can't help it, but it's a very beautiful game. I mean, I went and I tried several city builder games, in the modern age. So, for example, Frozenheim and some Greek and some Roman. There are demo versions, of course, early access. Some of them didn't work. I didn't agree to a lot of these much newer games that have come out. For example, Frozenheim, or for example, that really popular game, what is that? Foundation Settlement something. Yeah, I mean, what modern games are also doing is that they're making it much more easy. So here, for example, a farmer goes out and he actually plants, and then he comes back to rest, because he has to rest after planting, or then he leaves his house and goes and cuts whatever crop has grown and brings it back to a granary. So the distance that he needs to walk from his house to the farm, do the job, get it back, get the produce back to an actual granary, and then of course rest, I believe is very important. It's an important aspect of enjoying the game. However, in the newer games, it doesn't matter where you place these farms. It doesn't matter at all, because the farmer is magically teleported to the place. You don't see him work. It's just, somebody tilling one corner, and that magically tills the entire farm. And then when the produce has to be brought in, it's just a harvest season, and all the produce just comes in. And that's not something I like. Also, another thing which I don't like is that you can pay whatever currencies in the game, gold, silver, and then you can move some blackberry bush from one end of the map right next to your gatherer's hut. That's not cool. What I would actually enjoy, which is what humankind has done, is that, okay, I can have a gatherer's hut, which is perfectly fine, but then I plant some blackberry bushes in the vicinity so that I don't have to go out. So that is farming or advanced gathering, if we are not doing crops per se, right? When we are not actually going out and making these large fields which require maintenance. So the model which Banished, for example, bought in, and all these games are just basically children of Banished. They're just going down on their knees every night praying that please let us have a game as beautiful as Banished, as successful as Banished. And that's what is not happening. They are making the games easier so that people can just have their enjoyment. You don't want people to think that, yes, our farms are actually built that way. We don't have farms. We don't have city folks sitting in the city magically bringing in the harvest. City people don't do that. Farmers and villagers do that. That's why they live nearer to the farms. They live nearer to the land. City people are sitting and writing this nonsense grant applications and getting money for the government for these companies that they want to form and just do commerce or industry. And okay, so yeah, this kind of making easy of the game is what I don't enjoy. What I do enjoy is a game like this where, yes, it does matter how close you are, how much effort and you are going to lose by extra work. Cave hyena is attacking, so I'm going to try to save this kid. So I'm going to make Thurad, a little girl, cross the river. So when you are in the water, you can technically not die. Right, so if her HP goes to 0 and she's in the water, she does not die. She does not recover, but while you're in the water, she does not die. Therefore, the longer I keep her, it's basically zombies, and therefore, she cannot be killed. So what I'm doing is that I'm meandering, I'm microing her. If she's very near to the coast, then the animal can bite and chew on her ankles. But I'm crossing the river, trying to make sure that she gets off. But yeah, it doesn't matter. We lost one person. Thurad is dead. Long live Thurad. And the trader has come in. Let's just buy up all the copper ore. We are going to need a lot of copper ore and get rid of all of the obsolescent stuff that we can. This is the last age to get rid of bones and dry skins. After that, it doesn't matter because they all cost 1. And you remember the harvest that we did last time. Okay, somebody else also got killed by... Man, I really hate cave hyenas. I really, really dislike cave hyenas. I'm going to be so happy when cave hyenas go away, and cave hyenas go away when the Bronze Age hits. Hallelujah. Just get rid of cave hyenas. I want to... If I didn't have so many things to balance, then I would go across the map and make them extinct. If that was possible, I would have gone and done that. Would have sent out expeditions, but yeah, in this game it's not very easy to do expeditions. That's one of the weaknesses of the game, because expeditions are things that should be in the game. It doesn't make the game easier, because what we would do is that we would prepare for this trip, that they would take dry meat, they would take water with themselves, they would go out in a group with extra clothes and say weapons with them, and then go out. They are not going to take a lot because then they can't travel too much, restricting the range. We have another attack coming in, so we're going to ring the alarm bell. So those are of course things which the newer games have done, that hey, if you provide so and so dry meat, so and so amount of skins and weapons, we can send out an expedition that will have a 20% chance of getting some kind of a reward. So there is a risk and a reward ratio. So based upon how experienced your people are, they're going to be able to get better loot for yourself through an expedition. That would be something that I would want this game to do. So if I have a particular person who has killed, say, 2 raiders, which is fantastic, or 3 raiders, because the guys on the ramparts, I'm pretty sure they kill more than 1, or who has fought this wild beast 1, this guy actually becomes a hero character. This is something that we wanted this game to have. However, the developers don't want to do that. They are given up on the game. The developers, I personally think, they have bought and made Planet Base, which is a fantastic game. A lot of hours on that. Very beautiful game. Doesn't require as much pre-planning as this, but fantastic game. They have this ability of really capturing thunder, lightning in a bottle, and then just do nothing with it. They have now gone on to another game, which is, of course, I respect them. They have their own thought process to it. and the players wanted this game to be developed a bit more. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. Right, we lowered our workload quite a lot. So as you can see that the amount of farming is actually much better. We were able to plant everything. As you can see in the far end of the Ozymandian Kingdom, we could plant much more than we did in the last turn. So although your workload is lower, it might be that you are getting more tasks done, and you might balance and get more people in, that they are more efficient and they have a lower workload, so they are making more babies, and then they are going to have a greater population. So win-win. However, I don't know which is actually better. I have done both. I have made them work like mad. I have made them go to 150% all the time, and I've still completed the entire Ozymandian Kingdom. And I have made them go down to very low workloads, and I've still completed the entire Ozymandian Kingdom. So you can choose to do either. You can roleplay as this really cruel-hearted, tyrannical, pre-Iron Age king who just makes his people work hard to no end and gets the job done, or you can be a very nice, a very caring warlord who makes sure that he is stern but he is fair. We're going to build up some of our log reserves because it's summertime, so we don't have any harvesting to do because we don't plant pulses. If we had pulses to plant, then it is at this time we would be going and doing another harvest. So that is something that I don't want to do. And okay, this is a nice trick. Okay. Another nice trick that I do is, once you see your folks are out there going and cutting trees, as you can see right now, I'm double clicking trees and some trees are getting cut, and I'm immediately double clicking more trees to be cut down. Once you do that, once you make this continuous chain of production of trees to be cut, they keep on cutting trees. So these guys will keep on cutting trees if you don't give them a break. And that's not that I want the workload to be really high. It's not. It's 95%, as you could see. But they are going to cut down a lot of trees because they have started that process and they're just going to keep on doing that. So that is another way in which you can push them to cut down a lot of trees, build up a huge log reserve, and that log reserve is the strategic reserve that you need, because whenever you change age, what you need is a lot of logs. And that is fantastic to be done right now. We are not producing any more copper, and we have brought down our stored copper from 62 down to 39. So we have used up some of these copper ingots. We are getting some achievements. We won't be making that many copper items because they're not that good. They're better than the quartz stuff that we had, the flint stuff that we had. But yeah, whatever. Don't care for copper items that much. I'm going to keep on moving my cut down trees area. Although we are focusing on cutting down trees, the harvesting season is in. There is a storm coming in. So let's see what the harvest looks like. We're going to go full speed because there is no point slowing down. I personally am a min-maxer, and getting more resources in a shorter amount of time gives me a lot of joy. So if I have to choose between aesthetics, slowly playing the game, looking at the toons, go and get the things. Sometimes I do like to look at it and I miss that I don't do it as often. However, what gives me more joy is to see all of this loot come in quicker. So if I have aesthetic beauty, I don't care about that as much, but looking at those precious pixels of 130 grain and 500 plus food, that gives me a lot of joy. So I'm going to go in full speed, and we are going to basically observe the effect of having a lower workload from the last time. If you look at the graph on the top left, you can see we had a huge drop of food collection. We had it more or less constant around 500, and then it fell to 250. So the last episode, we were really pushing the workload up quite a lot, and that was making the harvest poor. We didn't even plant half as many as we did plant in this season. Let's see how much we collect in, because yeah, they have to do a lot of other things. But we are at 110%. We have enough sickles. Our plants are nearby. We don't have disease because we have diversified our plants. We have followed all of the 5 commandments of the planting. So go check out chapter 11 for the masterclass on farming to understand how exactly to get a good harvesting season done. Now, we bought some donkeys. So here I am checking how many adult donkeys we have. The game does not give you that information very easily. So I press T, I have it hot tapped to T, and then you have to go in, add up the number of adult male and female donkeys, add up the number of adult horses, male and female, and then you have to check how many carts you have or plows you have. So that should total to the same number, ideally. Because if you have 10 plows and you have 5 horses, then you're wasting the durability of your plows, right? 10 plows and 5 horses, yeah, you're wasting the durability of your plows because they're just sitting there losing durability. And on the other hand, if you have 10 donkeys and 5 plows, then you are basically feeding 5 donkeys hay in the winter, giving them shelter, which could go to some other more important animal, and therefore you are again wasting resources that way. And as a min-maxer, as I said, I love those precious pixels. I want that loot, and I'm here for the loot, and therefore I don't like to lose my resources. We are going to put in a lot of orders for this copper items to be used up. As you can see, quite a lot of our farming did get done. Only one farm of rye will probably not get cut at all. We have all kinds of items placed. The best one in this case, where you build in the Ozymandian Kingdom, for example, where you build a lot of buildings, is of course going to be barley. So I don't need this much flax farms, so I'm going to manually remove one of the flax farms, and I'm going to put in some additional emmer, because okay, in this case I go for emmer because more food, more precious pixel. I want that graph to climb up. As you can see, the graph is already going up from the drop that we had from the previous session, because we went in and we had a lot of extra work to be done. So as we are manufacturing these copper tools, which we are going to do in the winter season, because we don't have anything else to do, your toons are now going to go in and start making more copper ingots because they are done. That the way to stop that is to go in and manually remove copper from continuous production, which would of course solve the problem. However, I have 10 plus furnaces, and of course in the next stage I will be going to the bronze age, and then they only go and make bronze if you have set the number of copper to 0 and you are not producing automatically not producing any copper tools. So 2 conditions: 1, you are in the bronze age, not given the order in any of the metalsmiths to produce any copper item, then they won't make copper ingots anymore. So that is just a few minutes away at this stage, and I don't want to go in and right click and remove the continuous production of copper. Laziness or lack of or trying to use the game mechanic, whichever way you and I wish to justify it, that's the way it is going to be. Here we can see how they are producing. They are blowing into this little furnace that they have, and then they are going to get some copper done. You can see how efficient it is. We have the copper ore right there, and we have the charcoal factory right here, and the charcoal gets stored in the stone storage facilities in addition to the copper ore. So there you can see a person pulling some copper ore and charcoal. So both he has picked up, and he's going to go in and going to produce some copper ingots, because we're producing all of these different tools. And the copper is going to be taken right next door to these beautiful metalsmiths. So let's go and have a look. There you can see somebody is producing. You can see the ingots kept over here. The game is very beautiful. I really enjoy the beauty in this game. I'm a big fan of beauty. Let's just put it that way. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. And there is a lot of humanity and beautifulness in this game, which I really enjoy, in addition to the efficiency, which gives me also a lot of joy. So here they go, they're blowing on those bellows, and then they are making these different copper items that we have given the order. And these are going to be the last copper items that we're going to make, because we're going to hit the Bronze Age, which is going to be the most dangerous time for our colony. I've repeated it several times that yes, the Copper Age, which is the Bronze Age, which is coming in, is going to be a time of great danger. We are now up to 6 donkeys, so I will have to check how many carts I have, so that I'm not wasting donkeys being fed for free, and neither am I wasting any extra plows at this stage, because sleds, carts, because I can't build any plows in the Copper Age. So we're going to build in some more fruit trees. Okay, let's talk about the fruit trees. Fruit trees are lifesavers. Fruit trees, I can't underestimate how many times this has saved my colony. They are very low maintenance. They are very high maintenance only once, where you have to actually go in and plant them. And I'm doing the planting in a beautiful manner. I'm planting them in straight lines in a particular way. When you're playing on your own, you can just take whatever. All the fruit trees are the same. Fruit trees don't get diseases, so you don't have to worry about that. So if they are monoculture, you don't care about it. It's fine. They'll never catch diseases. And you can put down as many as you want as we are doing them. Don't put them away very far, because if you get a raid while your people are collecting, and the raid gets detected when they are near to your people, and suppose they are very far away from your colony, they might get cut off, that the raid comes in the middle, that they're cut off from the colony. You want to have it more or less nearby, and you want to maximize as many trees as you can put in. If you put in 200-300 fruit trees, you can technically not even lose the game. What would happen then is, suppose you are in a siege kind of a condition. So let me explain. Suppose you continuously get raids in the harvesting time, and it really lasts the entirety of your harvesting time, that you can't go out and get the harvest. Then you are effectively locked up in your city, and every harvest they're coming in, because they come in more or less every year at the same time, 1 year on. And then if you can't bring in the harvest, you are in deep trouble. Of course, you're going to run out of straw. So yeah, troubles will be there. You don't want this kind of a situation. But suppose for some reason you missed harvest, you are in a tough place, then these trees are going to come and save your lives, because children can pick up these trees. They can pick up the fruits. So anybody can do this job. And that is the beauty of it. And you don't require any maintenance once they are planted. In 1 year they come up. So sometimes your food almost goes to zero. You have planted the trees and they come in just in time. They mature. You are able to get those fruits and save your people. They often pick up the fruits and eat them there and then. So then suppose they are starving, then what would happen is that they would go, suppose you have run completely out of food, then they would go to the tree, pick up the fruit and eat it there and then. So any other form of harvest, for example pulses, or you would have say grain, that would require some processing. So pulses, they would have to cook inside their huts, or in roundhouses, or on fires. They can't grow, they can't cook food in those tents, which is early game. They're not there in Ancient Warriors, of course. But fruits can be eaten there and then. Meat, of course, they can eat raw if you are in a pinch, but then you lower morale, you lose 25% of morale, and you therefore require to also go and pray at a totem, which all wastes time, and wasting time is something I don't like. We are planting, every planting is going on. There is quite a lot of tasks, and I'm going to remove them because there is really no point. I don't need all of these. I like to click them and then I have to go and click them back. We have now a raid coming in, and this is going to be dangerous because I can see that they have round shields. That tells me that the enemy is in the Bronze Age. This is the most dangerous time for our colony. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's see if our colony succeeds. This has been the Strategic Indian, signing out.